Back here on First Things First, we're going viral. Philly legend and Eagles superfan Sylvester Stallone had some fun on Instagram. Here he is in the movie Rocky 3. Right, because that's Dolph, right? Then one from... No?
Oh, that's Rocky.
That's Rocky. That's Dolph. Then one from Rocky 4. Don't be so ridiculously disappointed, Nick. I was off by a Rocky.
Rocky 3 is Mr. T.
Oh, that's right. Rocky 4 facing off against Ivan Drago. But wait, there's more. This from the movie Over the Top. I know the theme song to this one. Fantastic one.
The best movie with the premise of your childhood custody and a semi-truck trailer is based on the results of an arm wrestling tournament. Sorry, go ahead.
That was the Winner Take It All theme song. And finally, check this out. This was from the movie Lock Up. This one I had a harder time with.
Lock Up? Is that the movie where Sly Stallone intentionally gets himself incarcerated to see if he can break out of the prisons? Because I don't know what the Sly Stallone movie that is, but that one's great as well. He's a professional. He gets locked up to see if he can get out of the prison, but then they trick him, and he can't get out of it. It's on a barge in the middle of the sea.
Yes, it was supposed to. Yes, I do remember that. CC, what's happening? Do you have a favorite one? I feel like your favorite Sly movie would be Cliffhanger, because that was also one of my favorite ones.
I'm not a real big Rocky fan. I was just hoping you guys to carry me through that segment. But, you know, it's Rocky and Steinfeld. You guys don't have to go.
Okay, well, now if you want to talk, we could talk.
By the way, my apologies to one of the great thespians of our time who was robbed at the Best Supporting Oscar from Creed the other year. The little guy from Inglourious Basterds won it. That's neither here nor there.
That is neither.
No, just hold on a moment. It's Escape Plan is the movie I described, where Sly gets himself locked up.
Well, who's the one with the guy from 007, the original cast member? Remember where he and Sly were in that movie? Oh, you could talk about you're neither here nor there, but the minute I ask a follow-up question...
analysis of an all-time great actor, you're like, who's the guy in the movie with the guy?
It's just like me off the air. Yeah. It's that guy. Time for some... Cece, are you coming back soon?
Soon!
Time for some stories to start your morning. Blake Griffin made his Pistons debut yesterday, although he pretty much might as well have been with the Clippers. Same uniform. Blake had 24 points, 10 boards, 5 assists in a 104-102 win over the Grizzlies. Nick, what did you think about Blake Griffin's debut?
It looked a lot like his last 9 games in a Clippers uniform. He averaged 24, 10, and 5 in those last 9. He gave you 24, 10, and 5 in yesterday's game. I liked the rapport he seemed to already have, at least somewhat, with Andre Drummond. Cece, you mentioned it earlier. For the Pistons to be good, they need better guard play. But if Blake's healthy, he's one of the 6 best players in the Eastern Conference. That's who they acquired.
And there's been a steady trend to the stars going to the West. So LeBron in the East, they talk about how weak it is. It's nice to get a big-time star from the West coming East to a franchise that needs a star player. So, yes, I'm really excited about Blake being there. I believe also Blake can do a major renovation to his image by being a great leader, by being mature, and he started that off last night. So it's great to see.
Absolutely.
Real quick, guys, it was Sean Connery, it was the movie The Rock, and Sylvester Stallone was not even in it.
Okay. Thanks, Jenna.
Moving on to the NFL.
Y'all let me know when Rocky fights Kimbo Slice. Okay?
Got you.
Aaron Rodgers seems a little annoyed at the Packers front office. This after the team decided to make a move at quarterback coach without talking to him first. Rodgers said, quote, "I thought that was an interesting change, really, without consulting me." Cece, how big a deal is changing quarterback coaches without Aaron Rodgers' consent?
Well, changing quarterback coaches, it's a big deal that he wouldn't know, because this is the guy that Aaron talks to on a daily basis more than anyone else in the organization. And if Aaron didn't have a problem with him, and it's obvious that Aaron's not being, it's as if he's been deficiency of coaching. Aaron Rodgers is playing some of the best football when he's healthy of his career, and I think this coach probably had something to do with it. And to not let Aaron know what you were going to do. Aaron doesn't have to prove it, but you definitely give him a heads up before he starts reading about it. I would call Aaron as the head coach and be like, Aaron, I'm going to make a change at the quarterback coach. I believe that the organization needs this change, and I believe it's best for your career. Now, Aaron might say, I totally disagree with you, and I can say, just like I tell you guys, I respectfully disagree, but I'm going to move on.
I found it really fascinating that I understand why you wouldn't consult with even your star player on who the head coach should be. Maybe even your star player on who the coordinator should be. But for a quarterback's coach, when only one quarterback matters on your roster, it's Aaron Rodgers, he plays when he's healthy at the highest level of anyone in the league. To change his quarterback's coach without his consent and without letting him know, I thought that was... I thought it was almost an unprecedented move. You're telling me, you told me earlier, that's just how things work. When you were in Minnesota, if they wanted to change the wide receivers coach, they weren't asking your permission. I find that odd. I don't think that's how regular workplaces would go. But if that's how it goes in the NFL, that's how it goes in the NFL. I don't know what harm the quarterback's coach, Alex Van Pelt, was doing in Green Bay, unless they are blaming him for Brett Hundley not being further along in his progression.
Oh, now that's a great point there. But you are right, Nick. You don't have to have a consensus as far as it. I had, I think, 5 very good wide receiver coaches. So for me, Denny Green let me know I'm going to pick the wide receiver coaches. But you have to realize this. Denny Green knew what type of knowledge I had of the position. So if he hired someone that was incompetent, it was going to be his fault. And and it would have worked itself out in the meeting. But I stayed out of that business.
All right.
And finally, the Super Bowl isn't the only big event this weekend. The Pro Football Hall of Fame class will be announced Saturday night, headlining 15 finalists, include friend of the show Ray Lewis and CeCe's old teammate Randy Moss. All right, CeCe, how nerve-wracking is it for these guys at this point now? Tell us how Saturday plays out.
Oh, man, it's very nerve-wracking. I'm very excited for the list to be unveiled. Nick, I think that there might be some type of chance that I might be involved in NFL honors, that I might be just around.
Well, that's interesting because you're wearing your Walter Payton Man of the Year pin. I assumed you were going to get to announce the Walter Payton Man of the Year winner at the NFL honors, but I heard someone else might be doing that. And so I don't know if you're there just to, like, show people to their seats, or if maybe you're going to be up on the stage.
Yeah, he's there to show people
I'm excited to see what your role is, because it is at the honors that they're going to announce who the 5 are, correct?
Yes, they're definitely going to announce that at least 5 will be inducted on Saturday night.
And so here's the thing that I just want for the audience to know, because Sunday all the news is going to be about the Super Bowl. Monday all the discussions are going to be about the Super Bowl. We will probably at some point Monday and definitely on Tuesday talk about this class. This class should have 2 open spots, because there should be 3 absolute no-doubters. Ray and Randy, who are first-timers, and T.O., who they've slapped on the wrist for the last 2 years, and now as a third-timer should absolutely unequivocally get in. He retired, when he retired, and still is, by the way, top 3 all-time yards and touchdowns, just like Randy, top 3 all-time yards and touchdowns. But for anyone out there who thinks that any of those guys are sure things except for Ray, they're nuts. My partner Chris Carter retired, number 2 all-time, catches and touchdowns, or yards and touchdowns. I'm not sure which, but regardless, top 2 all-time, I believe, was catches and touchdowns. Yes. And they made Chris wait 6 times. The idea that Randy is just going to walk in, I think the fans expect that because he should, because it's a miscarriage of justice if he doesn't. But what they've done to T.O. isn't fair. They very well could do it to Randy. Ray will just walk in, and he should. I'm very curious to see if the Hall of Fame does the right thing, in my eyes, gets T.O. in and lets Randy be the first. Randy would be the first ballot wide receiver since Jerry Rice, correct?
Yes. And, I think that there might be something with the Hall, and because of their respect for Jerry, maybe, Mike Irvin, they made him wait. Myself, Tim Brown, they made him wait. Maybe that they're trying to separate the position, and they're not going to allow wide receivers to be first ballots and to have Jerry to have that distinction, Nick. It's the first time I've ever thought about it like that. It's the first time it's been presented to me, but it's going to be gut-wrenching. I mean, these last 48 hours leading up to it, I mean, the guys are so nervous. You can't plan. You don't want to think that you're going to get in, but for me, Nick, you know how I feel about my son, Deron. He's a wide receiver, plays in the CFL, and you know that I have the infatuation of 2 other kind of adopted sons that being Larry Fitzgerald at Arizona, and Randy Moss when he came into my life. So for me, being part and seeing Randy Moss going into the Hall after everything that he went through, from the first phone call that he gave me the day that we drafted him in 1998, and he wanted to be a Hall of Famer, it would include us in a very, very rare class. It would include Lynn Swann and John Stallworth as the only teammate wide receiver combination that is in the Hall of Fame. T.O. should get in. He would join Jerry Rice. That would be an additional wide receiver tandem. And you could see that the impact that all three of those groups had on the game, and those stories should be told, and I hope that story is told on Saturday night.
Me too.
All right, CC. Nick, 2 days before the Super Bowl, and the Patriots finally got the news they were looking for. They're going to start selling avocado ice cream at Gillette next year. Makes Tom Brady very happy. Oh, also, other news is Rob Gronkowski was cleared to play. That's probably the news that they were thinking about. Both equally important, though. Listen, we said today if Gronk wasn't cleared from concussion protocol, we'd be concerned. Thankfully, he was and is ready to go. CC, how much of an impact will Rob Gronkowski have on Sunday?
Oh, he's going to have a huge impact. I believe initially when they start their offense, they're going to try to run the ball and try to throw play-action pass to try to get some plays in the passing game and try to get Tom off to a good start. We've talked about it, and Nick and I, and Nick has really brought this to my attention as far as the oddity to New England in their 8th Super Bowl in their first 7, them not scoring any points. And I just think that's an amazing stat. So in the first quarter, so them trying to get off to that fast start that they haven't been able to get off to. And I believe Gronk is involved in that in the passing game. But as we talked about a lot, he is such a great run blocker. And even if he couldn't go out for pass routes, like he could draw coverage, he would be dominating in the run game. So his overall effect to be able to have an imprint on the game, to put his thumbprint on the game, it's there in the running game and in the passing game, and I think we'll see that and see it early.
And another key thing, one of the underrated storylines of this game is the Eagles this year, they struggled against one type of offense, the no huddle. There was only 2 games all year they gave up at least 400 yards of offense. Those were the 2 games against one of the worst teams they played all year, the New York Giants. What was different about those Giants games? In those 2 Giants games, the Giants ran 79 no-huddle plays. The whole rest of the year combined, the Eagles only faced 65 no-huddle plays. Why am I bringing that up right now? Gronk's versatility as a pass catcher or as a blocker is so dangerous in the no-huddle. Because if they do go in nickel and say, okay, you're going to go in nickel and put a corner on Gronk, we will run the ball and we won't let you substitute. We're going to run no huddle and do it again. Okay, oh, you're not going to match up Gronk on a corner. You're going to put a linebacker on him. Guess what? We're going to throw the ball and we're going to run no huddle, not let you substitute. He's such a matchup problem. And while the Eagles defense has been great this year, Travis Kelce had a big game against them in a game they lost. Evan Ingram had good games against them. The athletic tight ends have caused problems for them. So for all those reasons, if we were sitting here today not sure if Gronk could play, it would be an enormous story. The fact that he can play, and the Patriots have, I think, their most talented, physically gifted football player, and the second best player on their whole team is going to be healthy, I think it's an enormous part of this football game.
I'm totally in agreement with you on Nick. You make some good points as far as Gronk, but also Tom Brady being comfortable. Tom Brady knowing that he's got Gronk. Now, we've seen him be successful without him, but Tom Brady, that's his #1 receiver. There's no one on the field he has more confidence and chemistry with, and his impact on the game will be felt. He is a dominant player.
This is an underrated matchup, I think. We talk so much about the quarterbacks, we've done the head coaches, but both these 2 teams have tight ends that led their season in receptions and receiving yards. So the Eagles are going to go through Zach Ertz, and now the Patriots know they have Rob Gronkowski out there. All right, we're going to take a break. Coming up, what do the Eagles have to do to pull off the upset? We'll tell you. We have the answer. We're going to tell you next on First Things First.
And our official picks. Lock them in, America. Last football pick.
For deals on the latest flooring trends,